New Zealand have less than 100 deaths from COVID. We have over 100,000.
They didn't have
Wendy,
COVID.
please.
Yeah.
Wendy, please.
Okay, look.
No,
look.
don't Wendy, please me. Yeah.
The UK.
The fact is, New Zealand didn't have COVID for a full year. It wasn't there.
It was longer. And what happens is that all of a sudden, when they got into the country, they couldn't get rid of Omicron, and they've all had to fucking have Omicron now.
Right.
No, that's not true.
It is true. They actually said it in there. They went for zero COVID, which is the most retarded thing in the world. And eventually, Australia and New Zealand had to back off the mic because Omicron is so fucking catchable, right? They couldn't stop the fucking thing. So it's bullshit what you've just said.
Okay. They've had less than 100 deaths. We've had more than 100,000 deaths. Haiku Ku was for using our water borders in the same way that New Zealand did. He did a video on Double Down News. And if we were to have locked down early, like New Zealand did, as soon as they had 1 or 2 cases, and then we would have been able to come out of lockdown sooner instead of
hang on.
Amount of, I'm not gonna. I am not letting him give New Zealand as an example. I am not letting you give New Zealand as an example. Do not give New Zealand as an example. It's just not comparable. It's so not comparable to give New Zealand as an example to the UK, which is right in the heart of the fucking world, right? We're the most connected countries in the world, and you're giving New Zealand. It's just fucking disingenuous, like it always is. Stop giving New Zealand.
Why? Because it's the best example.
Yeah, but because it's at the end of the world. It's at the end of the world. Nowhere near anything.
It's
give India as an example. Give India as an example.
Which has a water border that is like, I can't use Hungary because they have a fucking land border. It's much more difficult to like lock down your borders when you have loads of like land neighbors where people can cross the border easily undetected. Whereas
how many people in New Zealand?
Lister, a very minute amount of people come in if they are refugees or like.
Lister. I've just done a simple Google search. New Zealand 1.7 million cases, 1,869 deaths. So honestly, Lister, please do your research before you start spurting shit out like 100 deaths.
Statistics were wrong. Fuck, you know. Why did you get 100 deaths?
I know. He mostly went to Pink News and found it, or Hope Not Hate, or some other bullshit.
Okay, so all their deaths have come in the last few months.
Yes, because they couldn't lock out. Because they couldn't lock out Omicron, and they had to accept it in the end. Because that's what happens with viruses. You're a fucking idiot. They were idiots. They've literally put their countries in lockdown for 2 years, right? For what? Because they couldn't hide it in the first fucking place.
They've been in lockdown less than the UK, and And looking at it, they've had
New Zealand people can't even get into their own country, for fuck's sake. New Zealand nationals can't even get into their own country for the last 2-3 years.
I'm looking at the graph.
I'm
looking at the graph now, and for the whole pandemic,
you should have looked at the graph before, shouldn't you? You should have looked. You should have looked at the graph before.
But we had Black Lives Matter running around, and we had fucking people turning up all on the shore.
So much full of shit.
Able to be given human rights. Refused injections, and you're telling us we should lock down. So all the normal people were locked down while we had illegal immigrants running up and down the country and fucking Black Lives Matter protests. What is the matter with you?
Yeah, you're not factoring the lasting effects of lockdown, Lister. How many people would have got an early diagnosis of cancer through lockdown in New Zealand? A lot of people will die because of it.
Okay.
If we lock down, listen, can I actually make a point before being interrupted? It took 12 months for them to receive more than 100 deaths, whereas even now
he's still talking about it. He's still talking about. He's talking about an isolated country.
Base Welshman, let him make his point, please.
Yeah, but he keeps on bringing up New Zealand, and we've already proved these facts are fucking nonsense. And New Zealand is not an example like the UK. It's just even the way it's you know, in the world, where it is in the world. Apart from where it is in the world, we're a huge transit hub. This is fucking bullshit.